doesn't matter what you look like, say or do. I know that I had a cooler weekend than you.
All right. Welcome to 48 Hour Heroes Origin Stories. And today with me, I have a special guest, ScottVasquez from Los Angeles, who I've never met before. So this should be a lot of fun, kind of going into this cold and learning more about you and your adventures in the 48 Hour Film Project. So welcome, Scott.
Although professionally, I go by Scott Matthew.
Scott Matthew. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I go by because it's derived from my middle name.
Okay. Gotcha.
Or sometimes Scott the Artistic Autistic.
Ah, okay.
Each name I use sometimes.
Well, I'll go with Scott Matthew because that's just the easiest and rolls off the tongue a little more conversationally.
That's why I use it. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about how you got involved with the 48 Hour Film Project in Los Angeles.
Actually, the funny thing on how it's started is that it goes back farther than that because I was taking film courses at Cypress College, and one of my classmates in there was Alec Rye, who was part of the Uncle Mickey crew, and they started joining the 48 Hour Film Project 2 years before I did. And then the one film that they did was the Kip Wallace Guarantee, which ended up winning the best. They got the best audience award, and Brian Velasquez won for best actor for that film.
Oh, nice.
And they actually showcased it at the last Cypress College Film Festival I ever did, and it ended up winning best picture. And it was because of that, and thanks to their convincing. In fact, Alec himself is the one that talked me into doing the 48. So I decided, why not join this group? Yeah, because I didn't know what to expect because because I did end my college years, and because I didn't know where to go from there. So I decided to try out the 48 as like the next step doing these student films.
Cool. What was your impression your first time through doing a 48?
I didn't know what to expect because first of like one of like the back to my student films, like the first thing I ever, I mean like because I've done a couple like smaller projects, but the one that really put me on the map, especially with the community, was the OCD, which talked about which of course talks about like my interaction with Orange County Society with autism and how people view me. Ended up winning the best screenplay award at that festival, at the Cypress Festival.
That's great.
So I decided after that I took some risk with some other films, but they weren't as successful because only like if you do like one film as your magnum opus, they're going to compare all your other films to that. And so with so I tried experimenting like with going like really dark with some of the films, but it wasn't really flying with this audience. And so now going to the 48, because this was it was so experimental because I was still doing what Lime Street Entertainment does. That's the company. Yeah, because Lime Street has a tendency to do like these tongue-in-cheek characters, but put against somewhat of a dark setting, like what Don Bluth does with his films. And so Ashley and I came up with this project called. In fact, the first thing we ever did for the 48 was Saved by a Vampire, which she actually, because AshleyCordelia, she's my regular actress that I use and everything ever since the OC. And so and she decided to involve her daughter in this, like Tiger Lily playing this baby vampire who gets lost in the woods. And Cordelia was the vampire hunter. She was like a vampire hunter who got paid by Joanne Davidson, who was the required character, the real estate agent, to clear the land so that she can build her housing project.
Ah, okay. So it's kind of a classic take on the sort of 80s evil millionaire trying to buy the land to destroy the orphanage or the summer camp.
Actually, yeah, because when we got the required element, I decided like, okay, let's use her as kind of this mercenary villain trope. Because if you look at the film, like you can tell that my Joanne Davidson was such a trope, And of course, Kelsey's take on it, because she was another actress that I've used in my student films. She totally brought her Kelsey isms into that role.
How many 48-hour film project films have you made at this point?
Well, I've made 3 of the regular 48s and 1 of the horror comedy one.
Yeah, and I just saw something on Facebook that you got an award for your most recent horror film.
Yeah, the Palm Springs Film Festival. It was Hammer, which is of course this is like another thing Lime Street kind of does. Because most other studios are very modern, like to try to keep up with the trends. The funny thing that makes Lime Street is because even my dad has had this policy. We're very behind the times. Our films look like they come from the 80s and the 70s. And Hammer is the perfect example of this because I'm not sure if you saw the film, but of course the trailer is out. The trailer's up and it totally has that very 70s Hammer horror feel to it.
Yeah, I thought the name had to be a play on that specific time in horror filmmaking, all those old Christopher Lee movies. And
exactly, yeah. Actually, yeah, I'm glad you got, because that actually is the double meaning behind that title.
Nice.
Of course, the hammer being the weapon.
Yeah. I love a good old horror movie reference. The other night, my wife and I watched Studio 666.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't love Dave Grohl? I mean, he's just such a wonderful human being, and we were really bummed to hear about Taylor Hawkins dying. So we figured, what better tribute to Taylor than to watch, this movie he just made. And there are so many throwbacks to all sorts of classic horror films in there. We just spent the entire time watching the movie just like, oh, there's Evil Dead reference, there's a Dead Alive reference, there's Cabin in the Woods reference. And it's really fun to find those references in horror movies in particular, because there seems to be in the horror genre a reverence for the past, for the films that came before.
Actually, no. Although the funny thing is, because Lime Street went even more method than that. No, because not only did it look like a film was made in the 70s, some people noticed this, especially Michael Jury, who was in the audience, he said it sounded like a film from the 70s.
Oh, wow.
Because it had that very RCA photophone distorted soundtrack to it.
Oh, hey, look, we have a guest. All right. Hello, Ashley. Can you hear us?
And she's still connecting to the audio. Oh, here she comes.
There we go.
Yay, I'm here.
Hello. Just in is AshleyCordelia. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, of course. Scott Matthew recommended you, and who am I to get in the way of that?
Hi. Yeah, because I want to say to the audience, because Lime Street is not Lime Street without Ashley.
You are so sweet. Thank you, Scott.
So, well, let's get into that. How did you two meet, and what about your partnership constitutes the organization known as Lime Street?
Well, a long time ago on Facebook, Scott had written to me just asking for support for his film. He was trying to raise awareness, and I believe it was a campaign to fund the film. And he gave me a little background on what it was about and said that it had to do with autism. And I have 2 cousins who have autism. And so I felt very passionate about being a part of the film, even though he hadn't asked me to be a part of the film. I said, well, have you fully casted your film yet? And he said, yes, the main role is booked, but there is a role of somebody who would be kind of making fun of the autistic person. And so I had to say, well, I really want to be a part of your film, but I cannot play that role because it just wouldn't sit right with me, because I don't support that and it's not me,
Yeah.
And while we're still actors and we might play roles that aren't us, like moral standpoint, I wasn't able to do that. And so I said, well, if it happens that, your lead actress drops out or something, please, by all means, hit me up and let's work,
Cool.
I would love to fill that position. And just by stroke of luck and maybe my manifestations, the main actress dropped out and the role was there for me.
Right place, right time.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I would always be kind of typecasted as certain roles that I wouldn't really want to be typecasted as. And casting directors would always overlook this innocent quality that I do possess. And it was really great for me to be able to play kind of like a dorky, innocent girl because there was really no acting required. So it was super easy. And it was just a thrill to work with Scott and, see how he works. And he really does everything. He wears all the hats and it's very inspiring. And so we just kind of have been working together ever since. And whatever he does, he includes me. And I'm so grateful for that. He's like my brother.
Excellent.
And I'm an only child. So that's a big deal for me.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So working in Los Angeles, I'm very familiar with the 48-hour film project community in Seattle, obviously. And, my wife is from Portland, and I'm very good friends with the city producer from Portland, Rob Hatch. And, I know Michael and Leanne in LA. They're fantastic friends of mine as well. But I don't know much about the 48-hour filmmaking community in Los Angeles because it's such a massive industry with, I'm sure, just subsets of various different filmmaking communities. But the 48-hour one is a very particular one because it, out of necessity, kind of branches across social silos. How would you describe, either of you, how would you describe the 48-hour filmmaking community in Los Angeles?
Well, actually, yeah, because now going back to the first time that we were there, it's like because when we did Stay by a Vampire together, like one of the people, I mean, probably the first person that I met, well, that I formally talked to was this filmmaker. His name is Carl Hansen. Yeah, because he was in my group. And the interesting thing I've noticed about him like and his films, like he primarily cast disabled actors in
Oh, really?
key
Cool.
roles. Right? And the cool thing is his film Connections, which was also in our group, ended up winning for Best Picture.
Ah, very nice. Well, it's really heartening to see more and more underrepresented communities being, projected into the spotlight now. Like, I'm a huge MCU dork, and to see, particularly in like Hawkeye, so you had, hearing impaired, deaf antagonist. I don't want to say villain because that individual is definitely not a villain. And Hawkeye himself had a hearing impairment through, well, just years of saving the world. Are you finding in your community that people are accepting of you as a filmmaker with autism?
Oh yeah, absolutely good. That's what I like about LA because LA because being mostly like a liberal accepting like a community
Mm-hmm.
because they totally see me as a filmmaker and what you said about representation because I hope like with Coda winning Best Picture would open the door for more of these like awareness of like any type of this disability.
Yeah, yeah. And I know it's a priority for, most, if not all of us city producers to foster an environment where, we want anyone and everyone who wants to make a film in 2 days, who's crazy enough to do that, to feel part of the family. And it's good to hear that Los Angeles is in on that, is part of this growing movement to more accurately represent the filmmaking community both on and off screen. So would you say that has it more or less, in your experience, kind of always been like that, or is this something that you see unfolding before us?
So what was the actual like
I'm
how
not
that
sure. That was quite a word salad
uh,
I laid out there. Would you say that the broader Los Angeles filmmaking community, as well as the 48-hour filmmaking community, has it always been encouraging and welcoming of filmmakers and actors of disabilities, or is this a newer trend, do you think?
I think actually I think in the trend like I mean like it was kind of like a minor thing, but I think in terms of now being like openly accepting is
Mm,
very recent.
okay, okay.
Yes, I agree too. I believe that it's something that's unfolding and it spans further than just like the acting community. Like um Victoria's Secret just hired their or contracted like the very first model with Down syndrome,
Oh wow.
and I think this is a movement that we are watching develop and unfold before our eyes at this moment. And it's getting better and better. The more inclusivity there is, the better it's going to be.
Stories, narratives going forward are gonna, I think, have more universal appeal and truth to them, because television and cinema are going to more accurately reflect what the world really is, instead of just a bunch of pretty white people.
Yeah. And it's going to be better for somebody who's actually disabled to play somebody who is disabled rather than somebody who is not disabled pretending or, acting as if they were, you know?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Carl is yeah, because Carl Hansen has always been an advocate of that.
Hmm.
Having actual disabled people play disabled people.
Yeah, well, if you want authenticity in the performance,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
there's no one better.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, because I'm saying because especially with Troy winning Best Supporting Actor for playing a hearing impaired person, and with Coda winning Best Picture. Because I even said like if that wins, I hope it opens the door because I actually wrote a feature length version of the OCD, which hopefully Coda with Coda opening the door, it'll make it easier for me to sell to like the financiers and like help finance the project because now I'm saying it's time.
Yeah, definitely.
The
Now,
time is
tell me
now.
tell me a little bit more, because I'm not familiar with your film, The OCD. Can you describe it in a little more detail for the audience, please?
It's kind of about well like the OCD like the short film version like talks about it talks about like it's like people's misconception of what autism is and I explain on what it is based on my own point of views. However, the plot of it is me trying to find love in Orange County because the
Mhm.
strange thing about because Orange County is different from LA
Yeah,
because Orange County is definitely more like people like in circles and they're and like let's just say Orange County is the opposite of LA. It's like they're very closed and not as open.
And especially in our school that we went to, it's very it's very clicky, especially amongst all the art kids and the acting kids. I even noticed that myself.
yeah, and that's always been a priority for me. So in Seattle, we don't have a large narrative filmmaking industry, which we're hoping is going to change. Our state film incentive budget just got increased by a little over 400%, which is great. But the bulk, it's still Oregon still got more than us. We just got ahead of Montana, and then we got, Los Angeles to the south and Vancouver to the north. So,
That's it. That's actually the advantage that Orange County has because we have so many schools and film
yeah.
forces. It goes beyond Cypress. There's Fullerton, there's OCC, there's Golden West, and the big one, which people don't talk about, like, but it's probably one of the top 5 film schools is Chapman.
Yep.
We've always kind of struggled with these social silos in the filmmaking community in Seattle. And they form almost out of necessity, because early on in your career you meet some people that you really dig working with and work well with, and you get some Amazon work or you get some T-Mobile work, and you want to keep that going because you want a career, and people cling to each other and to this work, and are, I think, justifiably a little hesitant to bring new people in for fear of losing control of a good thing. But I think over time that has waned a bit, and I like to think that the 48 has helped play a part in that. Well, that's one thing I aim to do in the 48, but also with this podcast, is promote the work of the people I'm talking to, because the whole conceit behind this podcast is that anyone who does the 48, anyone who runs a 48-hour film project is my hero. So, and I want to do everything I can to promote the crap out of my heroes. So
Absolutely, yeah.
definitely
That's
send
so
me
nice.
send me all the links, and I'll put it in the show notes, and hopefully we'll get some views on it, because it's very important that your authentic voice be heard, that your perspective is seen and understood.
Yeah. Because going back to what Ashley was saying about me wearing all the hats.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I did my third film, Hahn versus Gilgallon, it's like I did wear all the hats. I was a one-man crew on that entire film.
That's a lot of work.
And also what made it different was that with that film, because usually Lime Street, like I said, is more used to like going to like the dark side of.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Converse Gilgallon was like the first of the real lighthearted films I've like it was pure comedy. It was pure slapstick. Yeah, and also like fast-paced editing, which is of course which I'm not really known for. Yeah, because I'm known for like more like very slow-paced, laid-back tones to my film.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that was a pretty interesting project too, because I had never done anything that required like, it was almost like a Tom and Jerry, like when you watch it, you'll see like it is funny and it is like Tom and Jerry, and it just sharpened a new skill from the craft, and I could say that I can do that now because I did it, and I thank you, Scott, for giving me that opportunity.
Yeah, and the funny thing, because in the script, because in the script it was like it told her to do like a Tom yell, and when she did the Tom yell, she actually nailed it on the first take.
Yeah, comedy is not easy. So I listen to a lot of stand-up comedy. Ever since I was a little kid, I've adored Monty Python, and I dream in comedy. But it is very, very hard to create comedy that legitimately makes people laugh.
Exactly. Because one of the strategies I did, because when I was casting us, because this is actually the first time I ever casted outside our region. So I started to go to Casting Frontier, looking specifically for comedy actresses. And this one that I found, her name was Isabella Fowler. And she's been in a couple of Disney Channel and even Nickelodeon projects. And one of her specialties was improv. As a matter of fact, because the opening scene you see in Hahn vs. Gilgallon, it was completely improvised by her.
Oh, nice. That's an incredible skill.
Yeah, actually, because with me as a director, because there are two kinds of directors. Because ones that treat the script like the Bible, and there are others, which is me, which I told them use the script as a guideline, not as the Bible. Like, because I always tell them, like, don't do exactly what is written. Do it in your own jargon.
You're more Christopher Guest than David Mamet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I told him, I told him, don't follow the script closely. Yeah. Otherwise I'll end up like the Star Wars prequels.
Oh yeah. Let's not go down that rabbit hole, because I got too many opinions.
No, but it is very nice when like a director will allow the actor to bring themselves to the project and and add in a little something here and there, because sometimes it doesn't work and sometimes it's money, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And it really does depend on the screenplay, because there are some writers that are so good that it's hard to imagine, straying at all from the original text.
Yeah, I hear that too.
But some writers are great about writing expressly for allowing experimentation by, cast and crew.
Yeah, exactly. Because and also like this will lead to the next film that we did, because like Hahn versus Gilgallon like was a very meta Lime Street film. Because the reason why I say meta, because because the message of that film is about like, because it combined our old school methods with the new wave that's going on. And of course, the message of the film is like is the collaboration between like Generation Y versus Millennial,
Mhm.
which of course Hahn versus Gilgallon, because Gilgallon was also a past character used,
Oh, nice.
and it was very meta because that would eventually be the last solo project for Lime Street, because the rest of our films are going to be collaboration with other studios, which
There you
led
go.
to the next one, which was Hammer, which we collaborated with Julie Ryland and Gold Thunder Productions.
Excellent. And it looks like it paid off because you got a big award out of it.
Yeah, I'm super stoked on that. And just on the last thing, I just want to say, like, I feel like one of the best compliments that I could ever get as an actor is when I do improvise and then the director says, I like that. That's good. Do that again. You know?
Scott, Matthew, and Ashley, I just want to say thank you for taking some time out of the day and chatting about some fun and important things. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and so I'll be posting this on this coming Friday, and please do send me all the links you have to your work, and I'll get it in the show notes, and hopefully we'll get some eyeballs on the work.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, especially with the OC, because my plan for this year, because Lime Street is actually not going to join the competition, but yet I'm submitting myself as an actor,
Oh, there you go.
because I actually have talked with Carl about this.
Cool.
Yeah, because I'm talking about working with Carl, because I've already proved that I'm a filmmaker. Now the next step is to prove that I can carry a film as an actor.
There you go. Branch it
Which
out.
will.
Well, best of luck to you in that, and I'm looking forward to seeing the results.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I do have some closing thoughts,
Okay.
because for Mark, because I have a message from Mark Rupert,
Yeah.
Rupert, because I hear he's like the founder of the whole thing. Because
Yes, he is.
I actually wrote a submission to the 48 website that hopefully bring the 48 to Orange County.
Okay.
Bring the Orange County, because I feel it's going to work because of all the film schools that are around and the growing communities that's around there. And I want to let them know that I will be willing to coordinate that one.
All right. I'll make sure he listens to this.
Yeah.
Me too. And I fully second that motion.
All right. Fantastic. Well,
Thank
thank you both so much, and look forward to hopefully I'll see you at the screening in LA this summer.
So it really doesn't matter what you look like, say or do. I know that I had a cooler weekend than you.
48 Hour Heroes Origin Stories is a production of Media Without Borders and the Seattle 48 Hour Film Project.